to the Earth Day Festival. We are here today to talk to you about climate change. But first, let me get the introductions out of the way. I am Camille McRoberts.
I'm Lucas Streever.
I'm Samantha Morgan.
I'm Tyler Ramble.
And I'm Noah Gibble.
And we are very excited to be here with you today.
So first of all, why are soils important to climate change? Soils are the basis of life. Almost all of the food chain starts with the soil. The healthier the soils are, the healthier our food is going to be. Healthier soil equals healthier people. This is essential for all life, down from the smallest insect to the largest predator.
So as you know, climate change causes a lot more extreme weather events, such as drought and flooding. And these have a huge effect on our soils, such as desertification from droughts. And that leads to decreased agricultural yields, which is less food for us and our animals. And this also leads to an increase in the need for irrigation, which takes more water from our already limited supply.
Impacts on Pennsylvania soils. It increases soil erosion rates, and according to the European Environmental Agency, more frequent and extreme weather events, including flooding and droughts. The reduced rainfall makes the soil drier and degrades soil structure, as well as heavy rains increase erosion and runoff. Almost all of the sediment runs off into the Chesapeake Bay and other watersheds, where it creates dead zones.
Now that we've touched on soils a little bit, let's talk about forestry. What items are not made from tree products? According to the PA Hardwood Development Council, Pennsylvania provides 10% of our nation's hardwood, produces 1 billion board feet of lumber per year. So Pennsylvania has a lot to do with the forestry industry. And it is a major part of the economy of Pennsylvania. This also offers many socioeconomic benefits such as recreation and tourism.
So some impacts on global forestry. So with different temperatures and precipitations from climate change, it causes trees to migrate their habitats. For example, warmer temperatures push softwoods closer and more into the tundra.
So tree migration might not be an effect we see so much here in Pennsylvania, but something that definitely hits home in the Keystone State is invasive species. Different temperature and precipitation patterns cause invasive species to extend their range, to migrate to areas that they've never been before, and to reproduce even more. So, for example, winters usually kill off our pests due to them being harsh, but the more mild winters we've been having lately has greatly reduced the regulation of these populations, causing them to be overabundant. So this is all a positive feedback loop. Climate change causes invasive insects.
Any junior high band member that has not checked into the band room to label instruments and equipment, please do that quickly at this time. It should only take a few minutes. Thank you.
That we have are the spotted lanternfly and the spongy moth, both killing our trees. And their ranges are allowed to be extended from warmer temperatures. And invasive plants, this is a situation like the tree migration. Kudzu is only in select areas of southern PA, but due to warmer temperatures, it very well can migrate to the more northern regions.
Aquatics. Just keep swimming. Now, why are aquatics important to us? There are over 83,000 miles of rivers, streams, and creeks in Pennsylvania. Sport fishing is just one of the many ways you can participate in fun in the waterways. Fish sustains a lot of development in other countries, and our waterways are the key to keeping our ecosystem balanced.
So, an effect on global scale of aquatics is obviously going to have something to do with the ocean, since that takes up most of our world. So, ocean acidification. With more CO2 in the atmosphere, it increases the amount of CO2 that the ocean sequesters. So that is going to decrease pH and make it more acidic. It's also going to make temperatures of the water raise. And this is bad because species in the water have a optimal range of temperature and pH. And if you just change that slightly, these populations are going to have a hard time surviving and reproducing.
So the effects on aquatics in Pennsylvania. So, as most of you know, Pennsylvania is known for its trout fishing. And climate change is directly affecting our fishing industry by increasing water temperatures. See, trout need a cold water environment, and even a 2-degree difference can affect them.
So what is the importance of wildlife? Wildlife was around long before humans were, and it was traditionally used to make clothes and gather food. Hunting and trapping opportunities such as sport, food for our tables, and the economy are all important and fall under the umbrella of wildlife. Wildlife also provides integrated pest management for our fields.
So one of the worst things that can happen to our wildlife is the disruption in the food web, which affects all the organisms. So an example that can be found in page 64 of Part A of the Envirothon current issue deals with Arctic algae. So when the sea ice melts, this leads to a decrease in Arctic algae. So that's less food for the Arctic shrimp and the Arctic krill, and it works its way up the food web. Eventually you get to the polar bear, which has less food. So when you lose something at the bottom of the food chain, all the organisms above are affected, and it can lead to organisms being on the brink of extinction.
Alright, so wildlife in Pennsylvania. A very good wildlife member to look at is the snowshoe hare. So according to the Pennsylvania Game Commission, in recent years, warmer weather has reduced the duration of snow cover, thereby reducing the ability of a white hare to blend into its brown habitat. This can be directly linked to climate change because of the warmer winters. Since it has been warmer, they're less cover, and they're like a light bulb on the brown surroundings, which leads to more range contraction and more predation, eventually resulting in the extinction of the species.
So now that you've heard all about how climate change is bad, let's hear about some ways to fix this climate change. We can't fix it to a global, we can't fix it completely, but we can reduce it. So some things I'm doing right now is instead of taking a car to school, I run to school. And I also carpool with my mom, who is a teacher here at my high school. So instead of using 2 cars and emitting that gas into the atmosphere, we're only using 1. In the future, I look to implement geothermal technology into my home, and I look for other speaking opportunities about climate change. Just like I'm doing here, I can find many different target groups and show them what climate change is doing and how we can solve it. Also, I'm looking to major in environmental science, so obviously climate change is going to be a big part of my future endeavors.
Here are a few things that I am going to do and am doing currently in order to reduce my carbon footprint. I plan on reducing the amount of waste that I am putting out and recycling often, carpooling and riding my bike whenever it is possible, and planting a rain garden in order to filter out some of the stormwater pollutants.
I personally see the carbon footprint and pollution in many different ways. So one of the ways is through my volunteer fire department, where we see as a large part of it increased call volumes. And in addition, I would love to add solar panels to my family's farm. I think that'd be a great thing we could implement.
So my personal action is going to be to drive my truck less and possibly get a more fuel efficient car. And I also plan to live in a tiny home in the future, which is much more efficient on resources and how we use them. I can also spread the word of climate change and how other people can do things like that. And I'd also like to plant more trees along streams and in wet areas to help clean up the water and sequester more carbon.
For my personal action, first of all, I might be a little ahead of Camille here, because I already have a geothermal system in my home. And I also plan on planting native trees and reforesting our land to sequester more carbon and stabilize our soils. I'm going to harvest from that land in a sustainable way. I'm also going to carpool with my friends when possible. Although,
Katie McDonald, please report to the band room at this time. Katie
all my
McDonald.
houses will. And of course, one guy doing this isn't going to make much of a difference. So I got to advocate for other people to do the same, like I am right now.
So now that you've seen all that we're doing, it is your turn. One person alone, like Lucas said, isn't going to reduce our carbon footprint on the world. So we have to work together, and small changes can make a big difference. The earth provides so much for us, it is our turn to take care of it.
We cause climate change, so we got to make up a solution.
Here's our references. We would like to thank you for your time and hope that you have,
It's okay.
Wrap it up.
wrap it up.
It's okay. We're not going to use this.
No, that won't work.
This is just, we can look at it and see what's better for lighting.